Our next senior speech will be presented by Sophia Creneti. She has been attending St. Stephen's for 12 years. During her time here, she has been a captain for both the varsity girls soccer and lacrosse teams and is the president of the senior class. We will now hear Sophia Creneti's senior speech.
Thank you, Julia. I'm a big fan of love. I consider myself a connoisseur of cheesy rom-coms, my favorites including 10 Things I Hate About You and To All the Boys I've Loved Before. My junior year, Mr. Johnson announced to my class that we could write an essay on anything. So naturally, I chose to write on love. It seemed like the perfect option. Not only do I see loves in movies and books, I'm lucky enough to experience it in my everyday life. So I opened up a blank Google Doc and stared at the screen. Usually, this is the point in which my mind takes over and the essay basically writes itself. But then, the unimaginable happened. I had no words. Any of you who know me understand how unusual that is. I have never had a shortage of words, whether that be in essays or just in conversations. But this time, I ran into a major roadblock. My definition of love wasn't a claim that could be supported in 3 to 5 body paragraphs. My sentences seemed twisted, like they curved around the page, but never truly came to a clear point. After a few days of attempting on love, I abandoned the essay and picked a new topic. In the grand scheme of things, my inability to write this essay is extremely insignificant, but it did get me thinking, why was it so hard for me to talk about love? I felt like I sort of dishonored it as a concept. The truth is, love isn't super easy to articulate. We see it written about in complex poems, dense 20th century literature, and plenty of songs. But at the end of the day, I think love should be easier for us everyday people to talk about. And thinking about this, I had an epiphany. What is the best way for me to talk about love? As it turns out, the answer had been right in front of me the whole time in the form of my favorite movie. I decided to take inspiration from To All the Boys I Loved Before and write my own love letters, addressed to the people who taught me what love is and why it isn't as simple as it seems. So bear with me as I share my final draft of On Love, the piece that took me a whole year to write and hopefully will be worth the wait. Dear family, thank you for teaching me that love is sacrifice. Ever since I was little, you have never failed to put me first, even when I was too young to understand it or appreciate it. For those of you who don't know, both my parents work here at St. Stephen's, and it is because of their jobs that I have the amazing opportunity to be a Falcon, an experience I wouldn't trade for the entire world. But what most people don't know is that both my parents have had career opportunities outside of education. Besides being the world's best 6th grade English teacher, my mother was also the editor of a magazine. She wrote articles, had meetings in fancy buildings, and ran photo shoots. My dad, who is St. Stephen's Student Development Specialist and an award-winning coach, also owns his own business and earned his master's in psychology while working here at school. Because my parents are so immensely talented, they've had the chance to pursue many career changes that would have taken our family way outside of Bradenton. However, they sacrificed those opportunities to keep me here because they knew how much I loved my life at St. Stephen's. They showed me love by putting my needs and wants above their own. The rest of my family has also done their fair share of sacrifices. My grandparents and godparents relocated straight to Florida when my sister and I were born, and since then have been our drivers, camp counselors, and personal cheerleaders in whatever we have done. Thanks to all of you, I understand that love is not a 4-letter word, but actions that mean more than any amount of words ever could. Dear friends, you all have showed me that love is the brightest light, whether that be in the highest highs or in the lowest lows. All of you have shown me how to smile in any situation. We've had a lot of great times together, like sleepovers, beach trips, championships, and dance parties. But the truth is, my life isn't always sunshine and rainbows. I am a huge worrier. My anxiety has a habit of taking over and sometimes leaves me as a shell of who I really wish I could be. Regardless of what I was going through, you have all proven to me that love is light. not just by showing me the bright relief at the end of the dark tunnel, but by becoming it for me. You've driven me home when I was crying too hard to see, and you've encouraged me to work for my dreams even when they seemed unrealistic. But most importantly, you've all stood by me when times were hard, and you've never made me feel like a burden. You truly are my sunshine on the rainiest days and my favorite people in the world. Thank you for teaching me not only how to be a good friend, but that love can poke through even the darkest of my own shadows, especially when it's coming from any one of you. Dear St. Stephen's, as cheesy as it sounds, you have showed me that love is everywhere. In my time here, there have been easy parts and not so easy parts. As any high schooler will tell you, there are times when life won't go your way. People will say what they want, regardless of the truth, and we're faced with the harsh realities of our futures. And sometimes it seems like nothing we do will ever be enough. But as dark as it seems, there are still hidden gems of love sprinkled all around, a lesson that I have learned throughout my time at St. Stephen's. My favorite hidden gems include the chicken minis Mr. McAvoy sets aside for us after a hard soccer match, the messages Mr. Moore leaves me after writing a vulnerable piece, learning from Senor Gustavus that a 21-second hug can actually reduce cortisol levels and relieve stress. And finally, our soccer season ending in the regional semifinals and drowning in our own tears, only to realize that while we did lose the game, the love that I saw present in that final huddle made every single tear well worth it. All of these memories were sandwiched between times of stress and sadness, but it's because of those feelings that I could appreciate the little moments that sometimes go unnoticed. My time at St. Stephen's has taught me that love can be little, and sometimes as quiet as a whisper. But regardless, it's everywhere, just waiting to be found. Love isn't a linear claim that can be supported by textual evidence. As much as we wish it could be simple and straightforward, it isn't. It's a story filled with twists and turns and ups and downs. In our attempt to understand love, we'll go through all sorts of pain and changes. But in the end, I think I've finally realized what my definition of love is. Love is the text my grandparents send me before any big event. Love is singing the national anthem before a soccer game just to get the jitters out. Love is the silent phone call that we stay on just to make sure our friends will be okay. And in the end, love is the sacrificial action, the brightest light, and most importantly, the universal force that keeps us all connected. Sincerely, Sophia.